I'm Kerith Burke, Golden State Warriors reporter for NBC Sports Bay Area, and alongside me is my co-host, Golden State point guard Quinn Cook. What's up, Quinn?
Pleasure to be here.
Thank
Thanks
you
for having me.
And joining us on our first ever Road Trippin Golden State version of the pod is Quinn's former Duke teammate, Houston Rockets guard, Austin Rivers. What's up, Austin?
How you guys doing? Thank you for having me.
You know what this podcast is all about, too, because you have an uninterrupted pod. It's called Go Off with Austin Rivers.
Yes.
How did you pick that name?
Well, actually, I originally picked the name to say What You Feel. Say What You Feel was the original name. And then TD with Uninterrupted ended up coming up with I have like a mixtape in high school, and I said in the video I said I'm gonna go off, and it's like pretty funny the way I said it. So then they just said, why don't we go off? Like that's kind of how it came about. So now it's I'm gonna go off.
I'm gonna
podcast.
go off.
Yeah.
Do people say that to you now?
I
Do
get
they
that
remember?
all the time. It's ridiculous.
Do you
People
even
still
remember
say
saying
this.
that?
No, like I remember the video. Like I remember seeing in the video, but like saying that, like I don't remember even what game that was. Like that's what, like, and I don't even think I went off that game. I just think I said it because I don't even know what happened. But after that game, like I'll go places and people are like, Austin, I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna go off right now. I'm just like, all right.
Does that sound like
Jordan Bell actually said that on the bench yesterday?
he did? In an
"Man,
Austin
I was
Rivers
just watching
voice?
His hoop mixtape, Ball His Life mixtape yesterday.
I remember
So it's
something you
legendary
said.
stuff.
You were watching, it was mixtapes or ankle breakers. Do you
Yeah.
remember telling us about
Yeah.
ankle breakers?
Yeah.
Who did you study on ankle breakers?
Steve Nash, like that, he premiered like all like the best ball handlers in the league. It's like Al Iverson was on it, Steve Nash, Tony Parker, Baron Davis, Steve Francis. They had a couple like bigger guards, T-Mac, had some Grant Hill on there, but it was mostly for the smaller guys. So Jason Williams. So those are really, they were on VCR at the time. So that's how.
Yeah, I remember that. I had
so
that.
like,
I had the ankle breakers.
yeah, so that kind of gave me my, love for, crossing over and kind of being flashy on the court.
You're rewinding the tape, it's getting scratchy. Did you watch it that much?
Oh yeah, I mean, I watched it a lot. I knew each segment.
Yeah.
And that was like 03, 04, because I remember Bron, D. Wade, and Melo were rookies, and they had their own little, piece to it. So that's how far back it goes.
Yeah. Who did you watch when you were coming up, Austin?
Dwayne Wade was my favorite player growing up because he could do everything, defense, offense, could take over games. I mean, he's retiring this year and is still actually playing at a high level. Like he could easily play 3 more years if he really wanted to, but he's kind of ending on his own note. But yeah, I grew up in Florida. That was like the dude to watch. It was T-Mac first. Well, I guess to be politically correct, it was Penny first, then T-Mac, and then once those guys left, it was Dwayne Wade. Was the guy in Florida. And that was my whole childhood. Was Dwayne Wade. That's my favorite player. Still is my favorite player. Okay. I wanted to get his jersey after the game, but him and CP are like, I knew it was over for me.
You knew you had no chance.
I had no shot, man. I like my fiance was like, you think you're gonna get his jersey? I was like, I have zero shot of getting this man. I even went to him before the game. I was like, Chris getting the jersey. He goes, you already know. Those two are like best friends or whatever. So I was just like, man, like. Yeah.
All right, Quinn, I know you lived this moment, so I'm going to ask Austin, what did you think of D. Wade's buzzer beater against the Warriors? It was this season. It was filthy. It looked impossible. What did you think watching that video?
That would suck just because, like, it wasn't like a, it wasn't like it's not the shot he wanted. You know what I mean? So anytime a guy makes something like that, like, I don't want to call it a BS shot because it's like he just threw it up there.
It's Wade, though. He's going to make that.
He just, it's just,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
You and Steph had like your arms around each other watching that. I think you were watching on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
Did you know that shot was going to go in as soon as it left his fingertips?
I did. For him to kind of get his shot blocked twice in one possession, and when I saw him catch it and get his right leg behind the 3, I had a pretty good feeling it was going in. We lost 2 games already before that on some really, really tough shots. Dame Lillard and obviously James Harden and Oracle hits a tough 3. So, that's what great players do. You get them in that situation, most of the time it's going to go in. So it was incredible to be a part of because, they're going to show that clip forever, and like I'm in the background. So I feel pretty good about that.
It's nice to have you guys in the same room. I know you go back even before Duke. Quinn was actually saying that you might have known each other since you were 10 years old playing 8
I actually have I didn't notice until I got here. When I first signed here, Michael Carter-Williams was here, and Michael Carter-Williams still has his high school laptop. And on his high school laptop, he has a video of all of us at the McDonald's freestyling. It was me, him, Mike Carter-Williams, Brad Beal, and Mike Kabongo, and there's one more dude in there. I forgot the other guy that was in there. And we were all in there freestyling. It was so hard to listen to. Like,
So is someone doing beats like on the table?
We had an instrument.
We had an instrument. Yeah, definitely not that. Okay. We had the instrumentals on the phone, and somebody would play them, and then I listened to my verse, and I tried not to throw up. I was so. But that's what it is. When you're in high school, you do things that you thought were cool at the time.
Of course.
I still freestyle now, but it's for fun.
Sure.
But we were really trying in this room though.
Okay.
Like competing against each other.
Guys were going against each other. We were giving our all in there. Mike Kabongo was reading verses he had in his phone. You remember him? He had all these songs.
Who was the worst?
Mike
Carter-Williams. No question. No question.
FCW
he had the
terrible.
accent. He has the heavy Boston.
Yeah, his was
kind of accent.
Yeah, his was real bad.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
When did you guys first become friends or become aware of each other? Just being in the same sphere.
Well, for me, I always knew about him. We actually played against each other when we were 10. In Orlando actually, and back then there's no social media.
Right.
We don't have phones, so you just hear. About players at nationals or stuff like that at different camps growing up. And I think we reconnected in high school at, various camps, top camps and stuff, but you always hear about him. And obviously he's #1 in our class, all the way up. So I think we got kind of close when we did USA basketball in San Antonio one summer. He was on the older team, I was on the younger team. His team was Kyrie Irving, him, my team, myself, Brad Beal, and we stayed at the same facility, and we just got close. After that, we went on, official visit together at Duke and stayed in contact that whole year. He's a big reason why I committed there. He was already committed, but he was there the whole way, during my recruitment, and we got extremely close. And,
do you want to take any credit for his recruitment? How much were you talking to each other?
I can't take credit. It started with, honestly, for us, I think it started with Kai. Kai went there, and the stigma at Duke was before that was not a lot of one-and-dones go there, and Coach K likes guys that stay there for 3 or 4 years. And then Kai went there, and that kind of changed everything and opened up the gates for all the top players to start going there. Mm-hmm. So then me and him went there, and then it's just been year after year now. Duke's the place for one-and-dones to go. So I give credit honestly to Kai. If I really had to, I'd give credit to Kyrie for just kind of, because if he wouldn't have went there, I don't know if I was committed to Florida. And then I decommitted, and when I started looking, and then I can't really speak on what the USA camp. Coach K was down there. It ended up working out for us, man. It was a good decision because Duke was amazing. It was. I remember driving that before I got the car there. We what was that bus called?
Bro, we had the I don't even want to.
Oh yeah, I gotta tell you a story. We had I ended up getting a Challenger, midway through the year, a Dodge Challenger.
The minivan.
No. It's the 2-door.
Oh, the vroom. Okay.
So I had one of those mid-year in college, and freshmen weren't supposed to have cars, but we were all just whatever. Let's just. So I just brought it up there because we had this little random parking spot in front of the doors.
Yeah, one spot.
One spot parking spot, but I was the only one in the car, so everybody knew it was my car. And we had practices at 6 a.m. like college coaches do. They do this crazy shit where you practice at 6 a.m. And you could either take the what was it called? What bus was that called?
I don't even remember.
It was a transit bus. You could either take that, or if you got up early enough, you could ride with me. That was what would happen. So Q was always up. Q would be sitting right outside by the door. Marshall Plumlee would always be jumbling stuff last minute. So one time it's me, him, Alex Murphy, and Marshall Plumlee, who's 7 foot.
Yeah.
In a 2-door Challenger.
Yeah.
So he got in the front row. He got front seat. He bullied everybody and got front seat. I'm driving. Alex Murphy went into the back seat and stretched long ways. We opened up the trunk. and put Marshall Plumlee in the trunk. Closed it.
Closed it.
He was not trying to take that bus.
Man, he did that because he would have been late if you.
Because it's a walk. It's like a walk. Take the bus, couple stops.
Yeah, the bus
Then
takes stops.
Then it's another stop where you get dropped off, and it's like a 10, 15-minute walk. So,
like, there's no way he would have made it on time. So, like, they would always ride with me, and we would, if Marshall would get in the trunk, we would look for every speed bump and just drive super fast. And he'd be back there screaming.
So mad.
He got so angry. At one time, we really went, like, dumb fast with these speed bumps. So, like, got air. Like, he was, like, super angry. He never got in after that.
Did campus police know your car?
They knew his car.
They knew. Did Durham police know your car?
He got a challenger like a week later.
Did you?
Like
when he left.
Right when I left, he got a challenger. Same, he got a red. It was red, right?
Blue. I had a blue one.
Blue,
yeah. Blue one.
Oh.
I remember that. Yeah, I was like, man.
Was Steph Curry ever in the car for this?
No.
No one knows what Steph does, man. I still don't know what he does today. No one knows, man.
Why is he such a mystery?
He's just he's a mystery man.
He's a mystery. But when he starts talking, he will not stop. Like when he gets in his little modes.
Yeah, right.
You talking about storytelling or trash talking or both?
No.
I mean, not trash talking, but just like he's a talker.
He's a talker.
So like,
right.
You once he gets comfortable around you, and once you really get to know him. I was his roommate on the road for 2 years, or a year and a half, and he got comfortable, and we created a nice little bond, and he talked a lot. I'm like, where was all this at?
I don't know.
Where is this coming from?
Honestly, I didn't know. I'm still getting to know him. I didn't know him like that. I never talked to Steph. This is the most I've talked to Steph recently, obviously, because he's with my sister now. I had no idea. Even now, you get him in his bubble, like he'll just be like, and then 1 minute he'll start. If you strike a conversation that like really interests him, then he'll start talking. He's like the polar opposite of Steph. Like Steph's like super like outgoing in the cameras, and everybody like loves Steph.
Yeah.
Steph's like super quiet, but like if you get Steph in the right place and time, like he's way different.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Curry family's influence on the NBA now? Like their web, their relationships, that kind of thing? Because like you're in that family now.
Oh no, sir. I'm in the Rivers fan.
Rivers fan? All right, you tell me about the Curry fan.
I think it's great. Obviously, I remember watching Steph in college, and what he did for college basketball was fun. What he did for mid-major players and programs, I thought it was great. And he wasn't a number one pick. He got drafted to Golden State, and he didn't have great success right away. He battled with some trials and tribulations of him getting injured, and people doubting him, and then. He took that next step in his career, and obviously he is what he is today. And, for Seth to go undrafted and have to go to the D League and find his way to get in the NBA, and him finding the right opportunity and taking full advantage of it, because he's a great player in his own mind, and they all get it from Dale, who had a great NBA career. So I think it's great.
You guys study his handles? Seth and Steph? Do you study the Curry brother handles?
Negative.
Negative.
No.
I was curious to ask you that question, because you can compete with anybody, but as far as looking at the greats, do you consider Steph one of the greats?
I don't really like to look at current players. I just I like watching Steph. You know what I mean? Like when they're especially when they play like a good team, I always watch the Warriors play, especially since they're the team that we're trying to beat. Honestly, like that's the one team we feel. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Currently, right now, and here in Houston, like the mindset is like that's the one team that's ahead of us, like that we have to beat off. You know what I mean? And we feel like we feel like we are the team that can challenge them the most. You know what I mean? And so I always like to watch them just because of that. Let alone Steph. You know what I mean? But yeah, their family has been amazing for basketball. Steph, like Quinn alluded to, has made it cool for. I don't want to say unathletic because he is an athlete. People don't give him credit for being an athlete, but you understand what I mean. Amongst comparing him to other players, he's not the most athletic guy on the floor 9 out of 10 times. But 9 out of 10 times he's usually the best player on the floor. And that's changed the game. Kids used to want to dunk, and now kids want to shoot threes. He's changed the way basketball's played. It's a three-pointers league now. The effect that Steph has single-handedly had on the NBA has been huge in Golden State, period. They've set this trend where, now that we follow, we shoot 40 to 50 threes a game, you know, because we're trying to emulate what works and what they've had.
Yeah.
And I think what he's been able to do off the court is staying clean, staying out of trouble, comes from a good family. And then his wife has her own success story. You know, Aisha has some of the best restaurants in the country. Sonia, the mom, is an amazing, involved mother who's always there cheering her family on. I mean, they have that like ideal, perfect family that, you know, the media has gravitated towards, and it's because it's it's just natural to do that when you see something as special as what they have over there. So I definitely commend them for that. When
you guys are doing youth camps, are you seeing 8-year-olds trying to jack up threes?
Absolutely. That's all they want to do is cross over somebody. They either want to shoot like Steph or have handles like Kyrie. It's like that's like the two guards that, like, if I had to pick two guys in the NBA that like guards or kids try to emulate, it's not LeBron, because he's so you can't, like, people know they're not going to grow up to be like him. You know what I mean? Like besides Zion Williams, I haven't seen nobody with the physically dominating. So like kids, like LeBron will be a lot of kids' favorite players. Like LeBron's a lot of kids' favorite players, but in terms of who they want to try to play like they're not going to try to play like LeBron because they know they can't. Like, you're not going to be doing the stuff he does. So what's realistic for a person? Well, Steph and Kyrie are like 6'2", 6'1". They're not freak athletes. They don't dunk on people. What are they? They're just skilled. So that's every kid's dream, is like. And I think another guard that probably should be up there, but it's not, is like Kemba Walker for me. Is like one of the guys that I watch, and he's like the most underrated, hardest to guard in the league. In my opinion, he's the hardest. If I had to pick one player for me that's hardest to guard, it'd be Kemba Walker, because he gets so low to the ground and his handles is crazy. Now that he's shooting the way he does, he's impossible to guard. But yeah.
Who's underrated to you, Quinn?
I love Kemba. Kemba's great. I think Lou Will is underrated. He's obviously, what he's doing is incredible. There's so many guys, like the guys that, you know, that really don't get the love.
There are a lot of guys, though.
It's a lot.
That's a good point, because there's like, I can name like 10 right now. Like, Eric's another one that like guys don't ever talk about. Eric's there's a lot of Dennis Schroeder. I mean, he's hard to guard. Like, there's a lot. Each team has, like, usually each team will have 1 to 2 guys that, like, people don't talk about, that, like, people don't know if he was on another team with a better opportunity, he might average like 20 a game.
Why do you think Lou Will is doing it so well off the bench? Does that help a guy in a certain way?
I don't think he cares, because he started. I played with him last year.
Yeah.
And there's a stick where he had to start, but he couldn't start a certain amount of games, or else he couldn't be eligible for the 6th man of the year. So then he's like, I can't do this anymore.
Okay.
But his starting numbers and his bench numbers are like the same. I think he's just like, that's his thing. It's become his thing now. So I think he's just like, I'm a 6-man guy. Like, and he's made it cool. You know what I mean? There's just such a stigma, I think, with being a 6-man. Like, they don't get paid the same just for being a 6-man. Like, if he would have been a starter starting these games, you know, Lou is one of the most underpaid players in the NBA. He makes $8 million a year, and he averages the number of an all-star. Guys making $25 million a year, $30 million a year. So, you know, that's unfortunate, but, you know, that's just his thing that he's always been, and I give him credit for sticking with that, even though, like, because he could have easily changed up for the money and been like, no, I want to be a starter, I want to make starter money, because there is a difference between starter money and bench money. There just is. And he's a good enough player to start on most teams in the NBA, and he's just stuck with what he does well.
The Clippers are exciting this year.
Yeah,
I mean, do you keep an eye on them just by virtue of your dad?
I played there, so like I don't want to watch them. You know what I mean? Like, they traded me, so like, even though, like, I want him to do well, like, I don't want to watch them.
I feel you.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't watch the Wizards play.
I feel you.
You know what I mean? Like,
how much NBA do you watch as a fan of the game? Because I do understand where you're coming from. I do. Yeah.
Let me tell.
Okay, what's real here?
This dude right here loves basketball. He's watching NBA, watching a little college, but I know we was in college. We were watching every game. We're watching every college game, every NBA game. We're watching high school, like watching mixtapes. This dude loves basketball, and like he was the first player I could say at my age, like I saw like really work on his game. Like it's one thing, like, you know how kids no days off, or, you know, guys come back to the gym after practice at night sometimes and, you know, get shots up. But this dude, you could tell he came, you know, from a basketball background, just being around, you know, his dad his whole life, being around his older brother, and just being around pros his whole life. Because, you know, when I was in college and after practice, you know, I'm trying to get in the cold tub and trying to get, you know, to the next thing. He's in the gym, like still going hard, game speed. At night, he's working out by himself, game speed. And that opened my eyes because, like, dang, he's 18, I'm 18. Like, I need to start taking that approach. And, you know, he wants to talk about basketball all day. He wants to watch it. He wants to find ways to get better. And that kind of opened my eyes. And as a freshman, he was our most competitive player, you know, on our team. Obviously, he was our best player, too. So, you know, to have your best player work the hardest, you know, that showed me a lot. That opened my eyes a lot. And, you know, it kind of took my game to another level.
I always hear that word about you, competitor or confident. And I don't think people know what to do with somebody who doesn't apologize for that confidence or minimize it. Do you always feel like you're up against that?
Yeah, I've always had this stigma, whether it's for better or for worse. Some people like it, a lot of people don't. I don't know what because I've never done anything to anybody in terms of like I've never disrespected any other player. I don't know if it might be just because where I come from. You know what I mean? I come from the word privilege, money. I do come from these things. I'm aware of that. So when you see a guy like that, you usually don't see that type of kid with a chip on his shoulder because people are like, why does he have a chip on his shoulder? He has no reason to have a chip on his shoulder. But I had it for my own reasons. You know what I mean? I had it because I was in the shadow my whole life. I was tired of being referred to as Doc's kid. That's Doc's son. And that used to motivate me growing up. So I used to play like angry and a chip on my shoulder. I still do now. It got even worse. I thought it'd get better, but then I went and played for him. You know what I mean? So all the hard work I've ever done got like just wiped out with that. So now I'm playing for him. So then I had to start from like scratch again. You know what I mean? And then, you know, now I'm here. It's been a crazy year for me personally. You know, I go to DC, then I get traded, then I get waived, and I sign here. So it's been like a whole different wave. And then I found actually a pretty good situation for me. So I use all these things to like motivate me. So that's why I play with that level of whatever you want to call it, confidence, cockiness, whatever people view it or use it however they want to. But that's why I play with that, just because I feel like I have so much to prove and get better at. And people sometimes take it as me being something I'm not. But I always tell people know how hard I've worked or how hard I work, they would never second guess me or question me, because I've always tried to outwork people because I felt like I've had to. And, you know, my background's different from a lot of guys. From 99%, the only person I know is Steph is the only guy that can relate to me in terms of, you know, that type of background. But yeah, and I'll give credit just real quickly. I know I'm talking too much, but Quinn, when we first got to Duke, you know, I know a lot of people know his story, but like, I was like one of the hardest working dudes when we were there as a freshman, and I felt like Quinn was the only guy who like took note of that. Like he watched me work, and then like it raised his level of work to where like Quinn became like the hardest working guy, to where like I would go back to the dorms after working, and then I would go to my dorm and I'd check into his dorm. I'm like, yo, and all the guys would be in there playing video games. They'd be like, where's Quinn? And they'd be like, Quinn's at the gym. So I'm like, so now I gotta go back to the gym.
Gotta go back.
So cause I had this thing where I had to be the hardest working guy. So I'd be like, man. So I get back in the car and he's there working. I'm like, gosh, this dude never stops. So then he started working, and he went from being like a guy who didn't play his freshman year to by the time he was like his second or third year, he was like the captain of the team, was in a whole different shape, whole different level of a player, whole different attitude. Like y'all know the raw Quinn of like Oak Hill, DC. Quinn in like freshman year. From then to like his third year, like the leaps he had to go to.
Yeah.
And then they say like, oh, he's not, you know, he doesn't have a pro body, he doesn't have all these things, right? All this negative stuff. And he like goes to the G League, or then was a D League, dominated that for like multiple years, still never gave him a chance. I don't understand that whole thing with the G League stuff. I don't get, because there's like guys down there who like could be, you know, there's probably like 2 or 3 of them who like definitely could be in the league, but for whatever reason, it's like if you do too well there, they're like, oh, he's just jacking shots or he's just scoring.
It's an interesting dynamic.
You know, and then he makes it to the league. And I told someone this the other day, I don't think it's a coincidence that Quinn has won. Did you win in high school?
Yep.
That you win a national championship in high school, a national championship in college, and a championship in the NBA. And like people could say whatever they want, like, oh, he went to Duke, he went to like, that stuff doesn't happen by chance. There's a lot of us who've been playing for good NBA teams and good colleges and don't do all 3. You know what I mean? And like he just has a winning mentality, and And that's definitely something I picked up from him in college. Just he'll do anything to win.
Yeah, and Quinn, for the listeners who don't know, you went from the G League to the Warriors to a championship last season. You went from the Cavs, the Mavs, the Pels, the Hawks, bouncing back and forth. How did you deal with the doubt or the uncertainty of your journey, knowing that you had this NBA dream, you're good enough to be here, but maybe the path was pretty windy?
Great question. I just think for me, my confidence was always there. I always believed that I belong. I've always had friends like Austin and Anthony Davis and Brad Beal, Victor Oladipo, KD, guys like who are stars in the league, and they always kept confidence in myself. Like for me, playing the game in LA, to have him come watch me play in the D League, like that doesn't happen. Like when I was in Canton, LeBron came to watch me play. Like that doesn't happen, and those guys kept my confidence. I knew the work I put in, and growing up, I always had confidence in myself. Like I was a McDonald's All-American. I was All-American in college. Like I just had to take a different route, and I appreciated it. And obviously last year when Steph went down, when I started to score 25, 30, 25, I didn't act like this was new because I had been doing it my whole life. So, that was just a great opportunity for me that I want to take advantage of. And, everything happened for a reason. 5 teams passed on me, but, I got on the right team, and I just want to keep building.
Rewind back to those Duke days. How did your confidence start building there? How did the competition level build between you guys? How did you feed off each other to make this good thing and to sprout all of these awesome NBA careers?
Well, coming in, we were the two, highly touted guys coming in, so we already had that bond. He shout me out on his mixtapes. I shout him out on mine. I see him get 30. I try to get 30. Just, we had always had this friendly competition, but it was all love. We were never, just trying to tear each other down. We would always build each other up. I remember we had gotten to it. We played against each other in the McDonald's All-American game. And it's supposed to be a all-star game, an all-star event.
Right.
And we're talking trash to each other at the end of the game. That's how competitive we were, but it was all love. Like, we always built each other up. And, when I got to college, I was hurt. So I missed the whole summer. I missed all the preseason. So I didn't get to play right away. But I saw what he was doing in college, like from day one. And it just was motivation for me. So to keep working. I see him after practice, keep going. I see, coach yell at him about defense, and he'll not make excuses, and he'll just try to fix it. I just kind of leaned on him when I needed, advice or anything, because I wasn't playing at the time. And then I got thrown into the starting lineup, and now we start feeding off each other. And it was great, man. It was just a great year for me. That year, kind of propelled me into a great career in college. And I just think, with him being there with me, him coming back, we had a lockout that first year.
Yeah.
He was coming back, and, it was great.
What was Coach K like?
I think Quinn would be able to answer that more, just because he spent more time with him, and he won with him. I think guys who have won with him have a different bond.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. You know, I think the one and done guys that go there usually tend to be like, hey, appreciate you coming here. Thank you for helping our brand at Duke basketball, and I thank them for learning stuff that can help me be a professional. It's kind of like this, it's almost like a year school. They try to when me and Coach K would talk while I was there, it was never about he would always talk to me about the next level, yo, you got to start doing this better. If you're going to do this next year, you got to start doing this better. It wasn't about because he knew I was out. So it was all about I think he learned that with Kai, and then it's been now every year. I think he's doing that with Zion and RJ now, and Cam. I think he's just you mold them. But in terms of relationship, the guys that win with Coach K have a different bond, and I'm sure Quinn can allude to that.
What do you think? Because I actually when I was working in Durham, I worked there 3 years, so I was ahead of you guys. It was John Shire, it was Kyle Singler, it was G, it was those guys. But I remember getting to know Coach K a little bit. He was funnier than most people might realize. Was that your experience with him? Yes. How was he funny?
Just anyway, he loves Beyonce,
Does he?
Yeah, he loves Beyonce.
I didn't
So
even know this.
I had no idea.
he like loves Beyonce. So I remember one
That's
time
gonna be the clickbait right
we-
there.
Did he?
we-
Yeah.
we weren't
Coach K loves Beyonce.
we weren't practicing, like we weren't practicing the right way, and so we come in and he's like the ultimate motivator. If it's giving us a highlight tape right before the game or just anything, he'll make you really feel like you can beat the world. So we weren't practicing well, and it was trickling into our games. Just barely beating teams we were supposed to manhandle, and so we come in the film, and it's big dark arena theater, and he's like, yeah, Kevin, turn it on. That's our video guy. He's like, yeah, Kevin, just turn it on. Doesn't say anything. And it's like Beyonce, and it's like just her walking, her like talking to her dancers, talking to everybody in the room, how she wants this, how she wants that. She's like, what is she getting to? What is he getting to? And he's showing how hard she's practicing, she's rehearsing for her show, and she's going full speed, sweating like. She's like, I didn't like it. Like, just she was really demanding, greatness in practice and in her rehearsal, and then it transferred to her doing the show that night, and that was his, little correlation about how hard we need to go in practice for it to transfer to the game, and it was like, Coach, what are we doing? Like,
Beyonce, yeah.
But I mean, we started practicing a little harder after that.
Is
so.
it okay that in my head I'm imagining Coach K doing the single ladies dance?
No.
Yeah,
No.
don't do that.
No?
Coach got too much swag for that. Yeah.
Has he ever met her? Do you think he's ever like
and then
used his influence to meet Beyonce and Jay-Z?
He got awarded I think Sportsman of the Year or Coach of the Year. It was him and Pat Summitt, and in New York, and so like Jay-Z was there, LeBron. So there's a picture of
remember that? Yeah.
Jay-Z. It's like Jay-Z, LeBron, Beyonce, and Coach. And like, Coach, like all four of them was in the picture. So Coach, just smiling regular. Then there's another picture with just him and Beyonce, and he is just blushing. His face is so red. Like
What on earth would they talk about, do you think?
I mean, they both great. They both great in their fields.
They were talking about their own greatness?
I guess talk about just winning in life. They both do. I had no idea he had a thing for Beyonce. That's pretty funny.
Because what's the music he likes to listen to? He sounds like to me, I feel like he would be like an old-fashioned kind of guy, or like a secret country music fan, something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
What did he
I
play?
see him listening to like Frank Sinatra.
I see him listening to like Temptations.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is there some soul to him, some swag?
I
Yeah.
think he got some.
A little bit?
I think.
He definitely has. I mean, you don't. From my experience, I'm sure Quinn can say this. Like, to do what like him and Calipari have done, to get all these players, and I'm not trying to like make this into a racial thing, but like obviously a lot of the players are black and African American. Like, you have to be able to relate.
Yeah.
To get guys to come to your school. Like, guys don't go to a school if they think you're like corny or like this dude can't relate to my life. Like, he has even though he's I think he is Jewish, right?
Yeah.
He has his own background of like not coming from a lot and fighting, and like he has a relate, whether it's music. I know we're talking about like Temptations and stuff like that. Like, he would surprise you.
Yeah.
And thinking like Coach K wouldn't do these things. Like, he would. He's a lot more relatable to the young guys than people think he is, and there's a reason why guys go there and then they always come back in the summers and have fun because, like, everybody likes them.
Yeah, everybody loves Duke. You talk to Duke people and they love Duke.
The people that don't go there hate Duke.
Yeah.
Curious about that. Did you guys feel like villains when you were in school?
It's facts,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And do you honestly...
definitely.
Didn't help me. I was already hated before that. Then I went to Duke, and then that was like the whipped cream. And then I played for my dad, and that was the cherry on top. People were like, we're off him.
Do people understand Tobacco Road and how great like the Duke-Carolina rivalry was, all that kind of stuff? Like,
I think it's more crazy for the fans.
For the fans.
Okay.
Because like
It's
a
more
lot of
for
us
fans.
considered the other school. Like, a lot of North Carolina guys almost went to Duke.
Sure.
Some Duke guys almost went to Carolina. But once you're there, like, you're there. And the fans take it very serious, as they should. It is a fun rivalry. There are two top schools that are like, what is it, 8 miles?
8 miles.
8 miles apart,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And, it's I feel bad for Zion that he didn't get to play in that this year.
Yeah.
You know,
That's-
that
that's
was
an
the biggest bummer for me watching them this year, just because everybody knows he's going to be on to bigger and better things. But those like memories of those games don't ever leave you.
Yeah.
Playing in those rivalry games, he's not going to get those back, and he's going to go on to do amazing things. But like, I always like. I mean, you could ask guys like Kevin Durant's stature and Steph, like some of the most fun times in our life are even the high school stuff, the camps. Like, because once it gets here, it's all like such a business and it's your job and you got to do this and you got to do this. Like, when you're in high school and college, it's all about like just being free and trying to win and being goofy and, you know, you're not held accountable for your actions. You can do stupid stuff and get away with it. Like, those are the stories that you remember for the rest of your life. So, I feel for him that he won't be able to do those things, but yeah, that rivalry is special.
Incredible.
All right, memory time. You hit the shot against Carolina at the Dean Dome. You ended like a 30 or 31 game win streak.
He had the funniest. You know what? When I hit that shot, if you go back and watch that, he has the funniest reaction of everybody. So I hit the shot right. First off, when I shot it, I thought there was 3 seconds left. So when I made it, I thought there was still like a second or two left.
Yeah.
So I just yelled. I didn't like, if I would have known it was like at the buzzer, I would have done something. Yeah, I would have like said something to the stands or threw up a symbol or something. But I just yelled and I was about to turn, and as soon as I turned, they came and they like, the whole team like jumped. I was like, oh, this shit must be game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I look up like this, like I'm on the ground, all my teammates are on top of me. I just see Quinn talking to the other fan like, that's fine. You know what it is? It's done. Yeah, baby. What the fuck? I'm sitting here like that's like typical Quinn's like going like this with his jersey. The crowd's screaming at it. It's dead quiet in there. All you hear is like Quinn's voice. She's like, motherfucker. That was man. That was.
Do you recall it this way too?
Exactly how it went. Man,
we weren't supposed to win.
We weren't supposed to win.
Right.
We were down like 20 at one point.
That team was really, really good.
Yeah, that Carolina team was crazy.
We had just lost to Miami right before that, so our aura wasn't, where it should have been, and we just went in there and just
we stayed with it, and everybody had like a part.
Yeah,
like
everybody.
every player played well. Like we started out slow, certain guys were hot, and then like the second half, like Ryan Kelly got hot at one point, and Andre got hot at one point, and then Seth, and then Quinn came in and hit big baskets, and then Mason played well, and then I played well. Like everybody that was our best team win of that season.
Everybody contributed.
And then like the shot happened, and the play was actually, I think, for Andre to come off a pin down the screen, but it was over. I mean, when I got it with the big, I was like, no. I actually shot that same shot the game before versus Miami, and we lost.
We lost that game.
We were down like 2, or we were down 3, and Coach wanted a quick 2, and I came off, and it wasn't there. But I had that big. Who was that big dude for?
Reggie Johnson.
Yeah, the big dude
Reggie
for
Johnson.
Miami.
Yeah.
And I shot that same shot, and I just missed it. And then, so when I got back in that situation, I almost like hesitated, like shit, like I don't want to shoot this. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I just waved them off, and then I just shot it. And I honestly thought there was time left. And then I looked back, and our team was like, yeah.
I think why I went so crazy was because that was our first Carolina Duke game.
Yeah, it was our first. Yeah,
that was our first game. So, we didn't have Instagram at the time. It was just Twitter.
Right.
And at that time, if you were a Duke player, like every single day, like you get mentions from fans, calling you this, calling you that.
Yeah.
So we got there, we got to Carolina, and we're warming up.
Oh yeah, the fans were brutal.
And that was my first time experiencing that, at that level. Obviously, we go places where everybody's biggest game, but they don't hate you as much as Carolina did, and so that was my first time really going through that. So I was pissed.
Right there behind the basket.
Oh man,
and
I was
our
pissed.
tunnel was right there. So like when we they came early for our shoot around.
Yeah.
So they're all sitting there waiting. The gym's like empty except the fan section.
Okay.
And they're sitting there waiting for each player has their like slotted or whatever time to shoot or do whatever thing. I just remember coming out of the tunnel and this like chubby white dude was in the front with like baby blue paint, and he was like, "Oh, here he comes, here he comes." I'm sitting here like, "What is going on?" I'm like walking to go shoot. Every time I shoot a shot, they're like, "Miss!" Like they're like saying something. I'm like, "This is crap." I'm just trying to shoot, get warmed up for the game. I'm like, "This is nuts." I remember an old lady cussed me out that game. Mid game, I went to she was sitting front row, and she had to be like 80 something, not like she was old, like old, and she called me something motherfucker. I was like,
80 years old?
Yes, I remember this. I'm not making this up too. Like this is like for real. So I remember I was like, they really do like. I always thought it was like a fun rivalry.
Yeah.
They really do like hate us.
That's why we lost it. We lost it.
What was the bus ride back?
Oh,
like?
man,
because when we got back.
Oh man.
Yeah, on campus, what did you come back to?
I had a girlfriend at the time, so my girl was there, you know.
I thought you said you didn't have a girlfriend.
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
No, I had a girlfriend, so I couldn't do nothing, man. You know, but when we got back,
We walked in our little bar. They thought I was Austin Rivers the way they greeted
Oh.
me. I thought I hit the shot.
There was like 8,000. There's like 7,000 people there.
It
Was
incredible.
There. When we pulled up, there was like you couldn't move. Like to get to the we put up in the circle like right in front of the Cameron Indoor.
Yeah.
But we couldn't pull up all the way because people filled this
Are they
whole
shaking
area.
the bus? Are they?
They
like,
weren't shaking, but
okay.
damn near.
So we get out the bus. They barely like can open the bus door, and we're just like weaving through.
Yeah, it was
Somebody
crazy.
brought a boom box and started playing music.
Nice.
So like people are in there like dancing, having fun, man. Like people, I'm like, this is crazy. I'm looking. We all lost each other. Like everybody was like, all right, this is just one-on-one.
To beat Carolina, I played them at Carolina 4 times. I won 3 times. But the way we beat them, like that was a memory that even like I won a national championship and it wasn't as wild as, you know, because you win a championship, you stay in the city that night and you fly back and it's during the day, so it's kind of like, you know, it's very welcoming, but it's like that night we were still riding off the adrenaline from the game and the fans were, so it was crazy.
That was crazy.
Can you even look at the color baby blue and like feel something? Does it make you
I
like
baby blue?
You
I
like
like the color baby blue. I am aware of it though. Like when I wear it, I'm just like, man, someone's gonna say something.
No question.
I wore baby blue sneakers in a game last year. Someone sent me like an Adidas colorway or something, so I wore it, and like somebody like took a picture on their TV and like sent it to me on my Instagram. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro?" I'm like,
what do you mean? So color? Yeah, I like these shoes.
Really kids, baby blue sneakers, bro.
Yeah,
But people,
yeah.
I was aware of it. Right when I put them on, I'm like, oh man, these almost kind of baby blue. But I was wearing them and I was just like, man, people are gonna say something.
What do you recall about the Cameron Crazies? How good were they?
They were great. I think they've actually picked back up a bit. I thought my year or our year there, they were a little bit like, for whatever reason, it was like a little bit. If you go back and look at like the 90s and early 2000s, Cameron Crazies, they were like nuts. That's what they got that reputation for.
Yeah.
I thought our year or my year, our freshman year, they were like pretty good. They weren't like as crazy. And then that year they won a national championship. It like picked it back up. And then ever since then, like I'm watching them now and like I was like, man, I can't really complain. We sold out every game, so it's like we never had like a game where like no matter who we played, there's never that student section was never empty. I think people are and I don't even know if it's like you when we play like New York and stuff, you'll see people wearing like Harvard shirts, and you're like, did you really go to Harvard? Because like you see everybody wearing them. Like I see so many people have like the Duke logo and the Duke shirt. I'm like, that many people went to Duke. Like, everyone's like, oh, my cousin went to Duke. I went to Duke. Random people, and everyone's like, class of something. I'm like, class of something. Like, oh, we went to Duke. He's like, yeah, man, I went to Duke. I was like, oh, cool, man.
Okay.
Like,
you still keep an eye on Duke, Carolina, or any of that stuff? Like, will you guys fill out a bracket? Because March Madness is coming. Is that still a part of your life?
I definitely filled out a bracket.
Yeah,
obviously, last year we had a team. Well, then we filled out brackets.
Yeah,
and some guys are obviously, they're just going to go with their alma mater. And obviously, with us, we always have a good chance every year. So I feel comfortable and confident always filling out a bracket. But I always watch college basketball. I always, watch Duke. I always want them to win. And I still have this in my heart. Like I always be wanting Carolina to lose. I know so many.
Want Carolina to lose.
So many Carolina fans. So anytime they lose, I can throw a quick jab. So the fact that they swept us this year, we didn't have the National Player of the Year, but they swept us. My phone is still going crazy with my boys.
With so many ACC guys in the league right now, is there ever trash talk? Is there ever does it go back that deep?
I don't really. I'll be honest with you. I don't watch college basketball at all. I only watch Duke. I watch Duke play. During ESPN, I watch Duke play. Other than that, I don't know who's coming out, who's the top player. I've always just been an NBA. I love watching the NBA play. That's just the playing style. I don't know why that is.
Zion, though. You said, what kind of career do you feel like he could have in the NBA? The way he's built, the way he's made up.
Because he's physically gifted beyond measure. So,
Yeah.
you know, I can't predict what skills he'll develop. Like, I don't know if he'll become this great of a shooter. The things he doesn't have yet, I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's really, but like what you do know is if he does develop them, then like he has the potential to be like this mega star. So like it's really untapped. He's one of those guys that you have to take a chance on. Because even worst case scenario, he has the way the NBA is now and the floor is so spread because they're shooting on every team. His ability to get to the basket with his athleticism and the way refs call fouls so willingly if you're an aggressive player, it's going to be a tough time keeping him off the line next year. I mean, he's charging you full speed in like the front court. And the guy's 260, 270, and he actually is really good with the ball, better than people think, getting to the basket. You know, he's going to be special.
Yeah. This is a Road Trippin podcast, so I do want to get to some questions about the road, how you guys exist, day in the life kind of thing. What is it like on a road trip? How much do you hang out at the hotel? How much do you feel like you can do what you want to do and be a normal person?
For me,
Yeah. How do you feel your time on the road?
watch a lot of Netflix.
What are you watching right
Watching
now?
a lot of movies. I'm watching Unsolved right now.
What's that?
It's a new docuseries on Tupac and Biggie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
their murders.
Are
Just
you-
started it, so.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff on Netflix, like the serial killer shows, the murder
I've seen them
shows.
all. But after a while, you start to feel funny, man.
Are you walking
Seriously.
around and identifying people like he's got some traits? He might be
No,
like
I
a.
just like you watch them, you just start to get dark. Like it gets real
Yeah.
dark. You know, after you
Yeah.
watch them, you feel funny. Like I can't believe there's humans out there that do
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
this. So
yeah,
like
Okay.
you watch enough of it, it's like when you're YouTubing something, and then you end up an hour later researching stuff that had nothing to do
yeah.
with
Oh,
you
you're in a
originally
hole.
YouTubing.
Yeah, yeah.
And like I was watching something like it was like 2017 most cringeworthy news videos. So I'm watching like funny stuff. I end up like Columbine shooting like
No.
videos. And you're just sitting there like, because once you watch them, you're like fascinated to be like, what happened? Like,
Yeah.
so I watched like Evil Geniuses on Netflix, and then you watch the Ted Bundy tapes, and then you watch all this stuff. Like I watch all of them.
Okay.
Man, I'd like sit there after and just be like, I'd have to touch my wife and just be like,
Are you here?
I slept with one eye open, like she ain't gonna try to kill me. I don't like. That's why I stopped watching them. I'm serious. I'm over it. Like I don't watch none of that stuff no more.
What about some comedies? You guys watch Friends? You guys watch The Office?
The Office.
How do you keep things light?
I mean, listen. This is like a big thing in the NBA. If you're white, you watch The Office. It's Seinfeld. If you're black, if you don't watch Martin,
Okay.
you are not accepted in this. It is like a big thing. Like, so when I came, I'm mixed, right? So I come to the team. When we start talking about TV shows,
He's like,
everybody
spreading the
gets-
water bottles.
everybody gets super like quiet. They're like, "Austin, what you like?" Everybody be like,
They're looking. Yeah.
and you can see the white people just like, "Come on." like, come on, because the white people are always outnumbered. There's only like one white guy a team in the NBA.
Come
So it's like
on.
all 15 of the guys on the bus like, "You watch Martin, man.
Yeah.
You watch Martin." There's like that one white guy like, "Come on, man, please." And I never grew up, like my older brother watches Martin. So I watched a little bit of Martin. But like I gravitated, I like dry humor. So The Office is like the funniest TV show I've ever seen. I've seen each episode like 100 times.
It's so awkward.
So I watched, it is.
That's Andre. That's Andre's show.
Andre likes
Andre-
that?
Oh my gosh.
The Office is the funniest show I've ever seen.
He'll be
in my
on a
life.
plane, just everybody sleep or just
Yeah.
quiet.
That's me.
And
Yeah.
he just
Dying laughing. That's me. I'll be on a plane.
Oh, that's
especially-
Andre.
the worst is like after a loss and everybody's on the plane. Like
Yeah.
I'll be watching The Office and I'll just start crying, laughing. I'll catch myself like, because like I don't want people to be like, "What's he doing?" But I'll just The Office that's my show.
I'm gonna start doing some Dwight Schrute lines for Andre. I
You
think.
can name a line and I'll be able to tell you the episode and season. Like I'm that. I've seen each episode probably 20 to 35 times.
What are the Beat Farm episodes? What I can't remember a quote, but or when like there was a quote on the whiteboard, somebody said it, and then Michael Scott put his name underneath it, like he wanted to take credit for it. Oh, you're looking at me
You're
like
talking about the Willy Wonka when he went up for the golden ticket, when he took credit for the golden ticket.
one of those. Or he was like Gangsta Mike. Remember when he had the
Prison Mike.
Prison Mike?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Prison Mike, yeah.
Prison Mike.
Prison Mike. So we supposed to believe you just because you put that on? Yeah, that you know the hard thing about The Office is like when it's very quotable, but when you say it, if it's not like in Michael's awkward way, like it's not. That's the difference. Like Martin, you could quote stuff from it and it's very funny, like. Because it's such a dry humor, The Office is not a great quotable TV show. You have to actually like watch it, and it's super
I think
funny.
like you could go up to anybody and say, "That's what she said," and everybody's gonna get it though. I hope.
But that's what she said. It's been around for so long.
It
though.
has.
But The Office did make it like, because he had to say it, or he couldn't help himself. He'd be like, "That's what she said."
That's what she said.
Yeah.
How about Fortnite on the road? Video games? No,
let's
not your
do
thing.
2K.
Are there addicts though in the league? Young
I
guys
don't
who
know
are
any. I mean, I see
are.
like Gordon Hayward is the only dude I know. I don't know anybody that plays. I
Okay.
don't.
So it's all
get it.
2K. That's what you guys like?
I play Madden.
Madden. Okay.
Yeah, I play 2K only. That's the only video game I play. I try to get into Grand Theft Auto, and I got into online Grand Theft Auto, and people just take that. It's like you're actually playing against other people on Grand Theft Auto, but it's like a sim world type thing, and people just kept like shooting me and killing me. I actually had my real name, like it's Austin Rivers, and it was relentless. I would respond for like 5 seconds. Someone would just be there waiting. I was like, I'm out of here, man. I created a different name, and I tried to I became the best drug dealer known to GT.
How about pampering yourself on the road? Did you see that story about guys getting pedicures?
No,
Would that be something you do? No? Have you ever tried it?
Yeah,
It feels really nice.
I've gotten with my girl before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that, but like
there's some guys with
Not
some
like
jagged
on the
toenails.
road,
Or like, how
bike.
do you, or like, what do you go to the spa at all?
I mean, you
go to
think about it, we
pedicure?
do stay at these, every hotel's
Nice
a Four
hotels.
Seasons or Ritz, so like the spas are usually the best. So I could actually see that guys going on an off day to go take care of themselves, but I just stay in the room and watch movies and TV shows. That's pretty much all I do. Netflix is like, I love Formula One racing. I'm big into cars.
How'd you get into that?
I don't even know, man. I got into it like 6, 7 years old. I have a huge model car collection now, and a real car collection. I that's all I spend my money. If I spend anything on money, like I'm not really into like jewels, and I don't really go out to clubs and all that stuff like that. My stuff is cars, so I have a pretty nice car collection and collectibles. And I watch Formula One racing. I'm huge into Formula One racing, so they actually have a race today, first race of the season. So I love that stuff.
All right. Help me wrap this up, Quinn. What are your favorite road cities for food?
Food. Atlanta. I got some spots in the A.
It's the Wings, right?
Yeah.
What are your spots? Can you name some names for the people?
Wings 101. Gotta go there. Best wings to me in the country.
I've never heard of those. I've never even heard of that. Wings 101.
Wings 101. Man,
Okay.
listen.
What
I'll
else?
check that out.
Yeah.
It'll change your life.
Wings 101.
I mean, obviously LA, because you got so many different spots. New York, DC, obviously I can go and eat spots that I grew up in, stuff like that. So, but if I had to pick one spot, it would be Atlanta. So I get some wings.
You guys like sushi?
I love
You
sushi.
doing that?
I don't.
No?
No.
Why? Is it just the rawness on the? You don't like it?
I just ain't.
I mean, I don't like raw sushi. I like shrimp tempura sushi and crab and lobster. I mean, I guess I do. I like a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I like New York.
sushi is
New York's
raw.
my favorite place to.
That's your
I think
favorite
New
road
York
city?
has the best restaurants in the world, in my opinion. They have such a wide variety, best Italian spots. I love Italian food. That's my favorite food. LA too. LA is just a little Hollywood. All the best restaurants are like who's who, and it kind of gets a little annoying.
Got it. We have talked about so much. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about while you have each other here?
We talk so much.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, there's probably like a million topics we could cover. I don't know. I can say what's the worst city to on the road? What city do you hate?
Do you
being
want to
in?
answer a worst question?
For me,
Do it.
Oh, I don't care.
Cleveland.
Cleveland's worst? Yeah. Why?
I don't know. My family's there, so they're like calling me all the time. It's like muggy and it's cold and
Cleveland's definitely up there.
What's your worst?
Mine would probably be Cleveland. It's just always freezing there, and there's if you're there like a day in between, which teams don't even do anymore. Like people stay, like you guys are staying here right now, so you guys don't have to go to OKC for 2 days. Like there's nothing to do. Like what do you do? Like what do you in the whole? They don't have Four Seasons, although Cleveland does have that new Ritz-Carlton. They just renovated. It's actually really nice. But you go to Milwaukee or OKC or Detroit. These places don't have these type of really nice hotels that you don't mind being in all day. So some of these places don't even have movies on demand. If you don't have the movies on demand thing, I'm in trouble.
no chance.
I'll be like, man, that's why I got the iPad with the Netflix on it now, because I'm just I can't. I don't like cold. I've never played. I honestly think that's why DC didn't work out for me. As soon as I got there and it was cold, I was like, I don't see myself playing well here. Like I don't even know how this is gonna work out. I've been in hot weather my whole life. I love I don't mind coming outside and sweating. I'm used to being in a tank top, flip flops. Summer in Florida, it's humid. You sweat. I got there and I had to actually buy a jacket from there.
Different ball game.
Man, I was like, this shit is miserable, man. You can't do nothing there. I hated it. Oh my gosh, I hated it. It's so cold up there.
Well, that's a wrap. Here in Houston now. And we want to thank Austin for joining us.
Thank
He
you.
is on Twitter at AustinRivers25.
Man on a mission.
Quinn Cook, that's Q Cook 323. We got the Road Trippin Pod. Shout out to Road Trippin Pod in NBC Sports Bay Area. We're gonna do this a couple more times for the rest of the season. So thank you for being our guest on this one, Austin.
Thank
Dub
you, bro.
Nation, make sure to subscribe to the Road Trippin Podcast. Rate us 5 stars. Give us suggestions, feedback, whatever you want to see, some guest ideas, and we will keep this conversation rolling. Thank you, Quinn, Austin. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
My brother.
Yeah.